peaceful and beautiful and physical and angry all at the same time.
Were you idiot, your mind would cave in and your heart would explode within your chest.
This is going to be a shame.
Here we go!
Let's get into it. Another edition of the Tall Can Audio Podcast coming to you midweek from a cold, about to get colder, Bytown, Canada. Snow doesn't seem to subside for long. It is winter in Ontario, Canada, and apparently we're about to get the brunt of it. But that's all right, because today we got somebody I know who's going to bring some hot takes, melt the snow a little bit here. Steve Bunda, what's happening, man?
Matty, what's going on, man? You know what? Hopefully I can bring some hot takes and warm up the weather, but if you're going to complain, fans, which they always do, Tall Can Audio fans don't like Steve Bunda. We've been over this, man. Yeah, don't hold it against me. It's been one hell of a winter, man. You want to keep shoveling every 5 minutes because it snows like 2 to 5 centimeters, just super annoying. But you know what? If it's not just that, it also has been like pretty fucking cold, man.
Yeah. And like you and I were talking just before we started recording that like Friday, Saturday, you know, they're saying minus 20, minus 25. There's like with the wind chill and everything, like a possibility. Like there's this, I don't even know when we started hearing about these polar vortexes. It seems like only within the last 5 or 10 years. But one's just going to like settle over Ontario for a day and a half and just make it like Siberia cold. So we'll see if that pans out or not, but it's not something I'm really looking forward to.
Yeah, you know, I could go without it, you know, personally. So let's hope we somehow miss that and we just get a little bit less than that. But no, man, things are good. How you doing, man? What's going on?
No, everything's great here. Want to remind the good listener, next week we got our buddy Kevin Mickey from Sportsnet. He's getting ready to take off for Italy. He's going to be over there covering the Olympics just like he did for Paris in 2024. So that'll be fun to talk to him. We'll get his he also works for the Toronto Scepters. A little bit of a rivalry there. So we'll get his take on the PWHL. It'll also be the week before the Royal Rumble. So we'll talk a little wrestling with him next week as well. But certainly lots on the sports agenda with him. That's coming up next week. So stick around for that. And on February 3rd, Julian McKenzie will be here from The Athletic. Obviously, we'll talk lots of hockey with him, but he's also got a brand new book out actually dropping on the 3rd. So we'll speak to him on release date. That book is called Black Aces. Essential stories from black trailblazers in the National Hockey League. So that's going to be really fun as well, man. We like to keep the good stuff coming around here, buddy.
Yeah, sounds like a good lineup. You know what? You're just throwing me in there, anyways. But okay,
you're legit, man. You're a mainstay around here. So lots to talk to you about, man. I want to talk some football with you. I want to talk some hockey with you. I want to talk some fights with you, as always. But can we just briefly, because I sent you a couple texts about this, can we? Because it's only a few weeks now until pitchers and catchers report for spring training. I want to ask you what you think of what's gone on here over the last little bit with the Red Sox. Because, look, it was, I think, a tough look to watch, you know, the Red Sox sign Bregman last offseason. That pisses off Rafael Devers. He ends up leaving over it, and then you lose Bregman this offseason, but they do go out and get Ranger Suarez, one of the big free agents of the year. I'm just sort of curious. The Yankees haven't done much yet. The Jays missed out on Kyle Tucker. The Jays did not bring back Bo Bichette. So while it's been a good offseason for the Jays, I think it could have been a bigger offseason for the Jays. The Red Sox do get Suarez. I'm just sort of curious as we look at the arms race. I guess I'd be remiss if I didn't mention Pete Alonso goes to the Orioles. The AL East beefing up again. I'm sort of curious, man, as a Red Sox guy, where you stand on how this winter has played out so far.
Yeah, well, you know what? In order to start answering that kind of question, because it's been that bad, I think I need to open up my
I can't
pint.
believe I forgot the beers.
Yeah.
This is my whole thing, man. And I got a beer sitting here, too.
And that's the thing. Like you just
See,
force
Bunda's
me to
a pro.
drink.
I'm a schlub sitting here. What is the pint? You're right, Matt.
Oh man, I went with the Kitchissippi Beer Company. Good friend Paul Meek, great dude. The Sasquatch Schnitzel. It's the Vienna style lager. I'm going to go with that.
Okay.
Yeah, it's something that it sounds like it's going to be pretty good. 5.2%. Nice tally of that. And before I start ranting, I'm going to take a nice sip of this, and I'm going to have to ask you what you have.
You have had to take control of my show because I've already blown it. We're like 4 minutes into this. I've already steered it off the rails. I also have a Sasquatch-themed beer, funny enough, man.
You know, that's what I'm talking about. Sasquatch Day. Let's go.
Well, when the winter looks like this, I guess our minds are both in the same place. This comes from the Cameron's Brewing Company. This is called the Chalky Walkie Milkshake Stout, 5.8%. The description here on the can sort of describes it as being, a stout this rich kind of being as rare as a Sasquatch sighting, which is not rare at all today. We're both going Sasquatch-themed beer. So that's what I got going.
Why is it rare? They're out there, man. You just got to look.
Sasquatch is real. It's,
That's right. They talk about aliens being right. I'm waiting for Donald Trump and everybody to open up the Sasquatch files. Where are they at?
We'll find them in Greenland.
Exactly.
What's going on in Red Sox land before we get too political?
Yeah, trust me, I don't need to get it on there. But I don't even know if I want to go to Red Sox land. It has been a bit weird because I think what bothers me the most about the Bregman thing is how it was so dead for so long, but it always felt like Bregman was favored to sign back with Boston.
Yes.
Like basically since their playoff run, it's like, look, he's probably going to, opt out. They're going to bring him back in. It's going to all work out. And it's going to be, shake hands and we're all good. It seems like Boston was
playoff
a good match.
Run is a charitable way to describe losing a 2-3 series to the Yankees.
Hey, they took the lead. They took the lead.
That's true.
It was a good building year, though. They built on their you know what? They've been kind of a
Boston
doormat.
has a pile of great prospects coming, right? They weren't quite ready this year, but they are coming.
Yeah, skiing's worry, but yeah, but I think that Boston's in a spot right now where they're kind of like, the way that Toronto played, New York, well, however much they spend, also, I guess, the way that they play. The East is always going to be, and like you said, Baltimore's stacking up too. They're kind of in a spot where they're never going to be favored right now to be in that top three. So they're kind of in a sneaky spot where they're just like chilling there. Like, it is unfortunate to not get Bregman back, especially, like I said, it always was that talk that he was just going to sign back in Boston. Yeah. There wasn't a lot of rumors up until basically he signed a couple days before. Because he had
an opt-out, right? Like, it was a 3-year deal, and it was just... He would opt out to bump that salary a little, and Boston would pay him a bit
too. Like, is this like we have an understanding here? You're going to be cool. Like, am I thinking of this wrong too? Like, listen, if you opt out, we'll bring you some serious money. I guess if it's a player option, they could just choose to do whatever the hell they want. But I'm just like, I don't know.
It's just so common now, right?
It wasn't like when he opted out that there was a big talk of him leaving, right?
No, and this was it.
He was always coming back
to get the number up. Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
So
no, I thought he was going back.
Yeah, so am I wrong there? Is that come on, man? It feels like you just gave the Boston Red Sox a middle finger. What the hell is going on? But
after watching them trade Devers over it, right? Like,
yeah,
I don't know. It's a tough look for Boston. But yeah, maybe they got hosed a little by Bregman. But when you offer up those opt-outs, and we're seeing them more and more, right? Kyle Tucker got a couple of them this year. Bo Bichette got 2 of them this year. Like, I guess that's just the new reality.
And see, Boston, and I think
Lindor had it. Yeah, anyway.
Yeah, no, I think they put themselves in a spot where, like, you know what? If we're aiming for third in the division, we're that team that's probably talked about. Like, again, it's going to always go Yankees right now. The Blue Jays have themselves in that thing. The Red Sox are right there, but they're not there. So it's kind of like, okay, like you said, bring in Ranger, see how things go here now. But I wouldn't be surprised to see another big move from them or something change from them.
Well, because that rotation is legit. Like, that is maybe the best rotation in the AL East. If it's in the conversation, the Yankees, when everybody's healthy with Cole and Rodon and some of those guys, the Blue Jays have gone out and brought in Cease. That Red Sox rotation can hang with either of those teams. It'll be, what can you get out of this lineup at this point? And I think fans are just frustrated that Red Sox revenues are normally like top 5 in the league, but they spend at like 20th in the league right now. And that's a tough look when you're a team that's normally spending alongside the Yankees at minimum. And no one right now is keeping up with the Dodgers, but I think fans are looking for them to
They're ruining
spend.
baseball, apparently.
That's what I
Kyle
hear.
Tucker, what is it? The owners are now mad. Oh, with Kyle Tucker, like, since when this guy became a big name that everyone's got to worry about? But of all
When
the
you give him
teams,
$60 million a year, he suddenly is a big name. Like it is
like, of all-
insane.
But I think it's just my idea of look at what the Jays and the Yankees, the Mets, the Dodgers have done before. And it's like Kyle Tucker comes around, signs this big deal. And it's like, holy shit, now they're bad for baseball.
Just softening everybody up for that lockout next year.
Mookie Betts is on the roster. Like, you got so many other like, they've made some other moves, and it's like, okay, now Kyle Tucker. Now, all right, we need a salary cap in baseball. Yeah. I just kind of find it funny. It's like Kyle Tucker is going to be that guy that like stirred up the whole MLB and fired in a cap. Because,
a good player, a really good player, but not not like Soto, not like Shohei, and that's going to be the one that's the backbreaker. I'm curious though, like, going into the season, and we'll see. Like I said, that rotation is legit, but they're going to need some of these young players in Boston to take a step forward. Do you think they can hang at a place where they possibly... Because there's some guys here that the Jays are going to count on. Like, I don't know that Barger is going to be as good as he was last year, or Clement, or Okamoto coming over. Like, I think a lot of Jays fans are excited about these guys, and I'm one of them, but there's no guarantee that some of these guys repeat what they were. We'll see what the Yankees look like. Do you expect this to be kind of a mess at the top that doesn't shake loose until the very end when someone wins the division? Do you expect someone to run away and, Boston and somebody else to kind of battle? Like, I'm just curious where you see the Red Sox in the mix as we head into the into spring training here, just a couple weeks away.
Yeah, I think they're right there. Like, I think they're just a middle team that it's hard for me to kind of like say as a Red Sox fan, but like this feels like a year where they're either going to overachieve or underachieve. Mm-hmm. We're going to see how much Bregman is a loss. Like, again, bringing in Ranger Suarez, that's a big move.
Yep.
We already know that, this Boston Red Sox team is a team that has a good rotation. Mm-hmm. What are you doing with the bats though? And that's the problem I have. Like, again, that's a team so far that has been real
depth
good.
In the rotation. I wonder if there's something you can trade out of there to grab a bat, right? Like, maybe that's a way you can approach this. It's interesting. Yeah.
Well, and I guess it's going to be, the next couple steps here. Like a guy like Roman Anthony, right? He showed up and man, he was really good. But then when he was injured, you could tell they just were missing that extra beat. Jaron Duran for, okay last year, but, kind of fell off from the year before, right?
Sure.
Was it the exact same kind of player? Can he take like another step, right? There's a couple of guys that you want to see take that next step. I think they're maybe missing one more bat though, like one more kind of a bigger bat, but they seem to have shied away from these big home run hitters and kind of want to play that kind of smaller ball and whatnot. So
Bo would have been incredible in Boston. With the wall, like with the Green Monster, the big right-handed bat, who's not a huge power guy, but he's just going to keep lobbing doubles off that monster.
Seriously.
That was the guy to shoot for, I think, for them. And look, I don't think anybody saw him ending up with the Mets. The Phillies thought they had him at one point. That didn't pan out, but we'll see. Yeah. You're right, because I do think that rotation is good enough to hang. It's going to be a question of whether they can.
And Trevor Story, right? Like last year, he had one of his best years of his career, kind of thing, going back to his days back in Colorado, kind of thing. And he's a guy that struggled to stay healthy his whole career. Can he have that same kind of success for another season? I don't want to bet on that. If it is, like I feel like a luxury for this team.
That's a huge piece, though.
Yeah,
that's
is.
the swing point. That's the pivot point, right? Like,
obviously health is always going to be a big deal. And when I look to what how this team can be better. Well, again, how many games is a guy like Trevor Story going to play? Is his back going to be the same as last year? But then a guy like Roman Anthony, who was injured like in the last couple games, didn't get to play in the serious playoff games. He was more or less a guy that now, okay, you got your taste. How good is he this year? Does he take that big jump? Does he struggle a bit off the guard? Like there's a lot I want to see, but I think they're a team that's right there below the Yankees and the Jays. But you know what? I am kind of just excited to get going a couple of weeks from now. A little hyped on baseball. Just
seems
like everybody is good. But as a Jays fan though, did it hurt? I guess did you come to reality that you weren't going to bring back Bo Bichette? But that's something too where the Jays were in the World Series, man, 2 outs away. Like it was. Yes. Crazy. Like there's a lot of hype this year.
Thanks for bringing that up. Yeah. That's,
it's you either build on excitement or you swallow and swear and regret, right?
I think the Jays have done their best to build on excitement, as you call it, right? And quite correctly, like the amount of eyes that were on that team by the time they got to the World Series, it was incredible. They had put themselves back on that Canadian sports landscape in a big way, in a way that maybe only the Jays can, and probably the Raptors would be the only other team that could. Like in the NHL, we're split, in the CFL, we're split, right? Like, but the Raptors and the Jays have this unique opportunity to be Canada's team. And when that happens, people rally around it, and they did with the Jays. We'll see what happens. I never really got the feeling, for better or worse, that they were all that interested in bringing back Bo. And once they signed Okamoto, it certainly felt like that was their big infield deal. And look, they got money. They could afford to do more if they wanted to. I didn't think it totally slammed the door on Bo, but it sure felt like all the way through it that he was a distant second or third, plan B or C after Tucker, certainly after Okamoto. And
you're kind of not really selling me, man. I feel like you're hurt more than you're admitting right now.
Yeah, I got to tell you, though, man, Bo was never my favorite guy.
No? Okay.
And look, there's no denying he was a very good ball player, right? Like his defense at short was always suspect, but he could hit, and you saw it in Game 7 of the World Series on one leg. He's hitting Shohei out to, like, if the Jays hold on to that, Bo is now at Joe Carter levels or Roberto Alomar levels of hero in Toronto. But his attitude, there was something about the way he talked, there was something about his personality that I didn't love. And I know that sounds like, well, he left, so I never liked him. I get how that comes off. I would have been really happy if the Jays could bring him back, but it was really for his bat, not his personality. Like he just didn't rub me quite the right way. I don't know what that is. And again, I would have been happier had they got him back, but I'm not sure I'm going to miss Bo. I'll miss him at the plate, but in terms of when you see those moments and guys are smiling and hugging and having great playoff moments and this and that, I don't know. I never really felt like Bo was, I don't know. He just had this kind of standoffish vibe, and that's fine. Like, everyone has their own personality.
It's the hair, Frobisher, right? It got to him a bit, man. It's funny because I remember being on the podcast about a year ago, man, right before either the season started or pitchers and catch. I can't remember, but it was when we were discussing how things were going to be so bad for the Blue Jays because at that point they had not signed Vladdy Jr.
Yeah,
and we were kind of worried that things were going to go downhill. They're going to trade him, and we were making these predictions, and to see how much a year has changed my perspective on the Blue Jays. But are they yours? Like, because again, they were always a team that was good, but it's like now they took that next step last year where they showed down the stretch. Yeah, they were a team not to fuck with. Like they were right
nobody
there.
Saw that coming, man. And we've talked about it on this show. You and I have talked about it. Rob and I have talked about it. Like going into last season, before the Vladdy signing was announced, right around the beginning of the regular season, my approach was, I just want to enjoy this year because I think after this year, things could be really bad. Like Vlad might leave, Bo might leave. You're just going to be left with kind of the remnants of old Springer, who at the time was coming off a bad year. Like things might be about to get really dark. So let's just enjoy this year for what it is. And then Vlad signs and you get off to a mediocre start, but do kind of take off late in May through June and July. And all of a sudden everything changes. Everyone's in. Free agents are talking to you. It's clear ownership is ready to spend money. But you're right. The difference between this time a year ago, where it was just like, all right, we got one more year of being respectable before the dark days return, as opposed to, holy shit, they were way better than respectable, and we're a long way off, presumably, from dark days, right? Like, ownership has shown we're going to contend. And look, the amount of money they would have made off broadcasts on Sportsnet, playoff ticket sales, like they're ready to roll. I want to ask you, man, because you're more of a football guy than me. And I don't know how closely you follow college football. I don't follow it at all. It wasn't on my radar at all on Monday night, the national championship game. Did you sit down and check it out?
Oh, yeah. No, I'm a big college football guy.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah.
Go Irish, baby.
Did you recognize any familiar faces in the crowd as they were zooming around and zeroing in on people?
That was a game where there were a lot of recognizable faces.
Yeah.
There could be a couple of different ones that you're referring to. Like maybe some old school Miami Hurricane players. Like, oh, you're probably not talking about them. You're probably talking about an old actress.
I am talking about Miss Bella Danger.
That's right.
And you know what? I got to be honest with you, man. So for people who aren't familiar, with college football and whatever, but her genre of film that she is well known for, she's an adult actress, and for whatever reason, intentional or non, and I'd be curious to get your take on that on the ESPN broadcast, her face pops up, not for long. It's only like 3 seconds, and then it cuts away quickly. And look, you've mentioned other celebrities and athletes and football players who were in the crowd. Nobody's up there for a really long time, but it did feel like her cutaway was very abrupt. And maybe that's just Twitter exaggeration and whatever else. But the jokes, man, that flew around about how many women were on the couch with their boyfriends that day going, who's that? Why are they showing her? Like, I don't know. I have no idea who that is. Like the jokes and stuff that came out of this were tremendous. And the fact that they cut away so fast, it was like some cameraman spotted her and, a producer put her up there. And then the main truck was like, oh my God, let's not do this. I don't know. I can't believe, look, I don't know anything about the Miami Hurricanes and Indiana, who ended up winning the game. But she's just a fan. She's just there watching it. But she became the story coming out of that game. Did you notice? I'm not trying to put you on the spot, Bunda, but like as her face came across the screen in the moment, did you recognize it, or was this like from? I think most of us caught it later online when other accounts started making a big deal out of it. Was that your experience as well?
Yeah, I was really watching the game, so I didn't see the exact moment it happened.
Yeah.
But as I normally am when I'm watching these games, I'll be on Twitter.
Two screens. Yeah.
Stuff. It's it'll be on the background, and thankfully it was my bedtime, so it was kind of like I was watching in bed, and I was kind of half asleep. But then Twitter blew up about it.
Yes,
and I was like, okay, like that's what's going on here, because I didn't pick up on it right away. Not that I just wasn't paying attention when it happened, but I did find it funny. And then I think she posted a video crying after the game that everyone was making fun of.
So this is why I wanted to ask you about this, man, because just today, again, as you and I are talking about this on Wednesday, Awful Announcing and a couple other places have this interview that she did with TMZ, where she said, which of course TMZ, super reliable news outlet, but that's who spoke to her, and she said she wished that she had never been spotted in the crowd, but that she is a legit fan, and she had been spotted earlier in the playoffs at a game, but there was less attention on that game, right? It wasn't the national championship game. It wasn't quite as prominently featured on TV. But she goes to games, and she said, I wish I hadn't been spotted, and I apologize to anyone who was offended. And to me, that makes me crazy, man, because whether you're a fan of that genre of film and knows who she was, like, it bugs me that she feels like she needs to apologize for going to a sporting event, and the cameras happen to find her and whatever else. But if you don't know who she is, you wouldn't have cared, right? Like if you have no idea who Bella Danger is and she happens to pop up on your screen as they're zooming around in the crowd, you're just like, well, whatever. There's another fan in the crowd. It wasn't until afterwards where this ended up blowing up, as you and I are talking about online and other outlets pointing. Look, these are human beings, whether you like what they do or not. They get to go cheer on their favorite sports team or go to their favorite concert or go get a coffee or whatever it is that human beings do. It sucks to me that she feels like she has to come out and apologize for what? For going? She didn't put herself on screen, man. It's a weird story.
Yeah, I think that's the whole thing I gathered from it, because at first I didn't really understand what the big deal was that she was on the big screen or even on the main screen of ESPN during, and again, she was on for like, what, 3 seconds?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, it wasn't like it was forever. And like you said, if no one noticed her, but I also, like, she said, I wish I was never on ESPN. Like, she wished they never showed her.
Yeah.
But it's also like, you can't be, afraid of showing somebody in the crowd,
No.
whether they knew it was her or not. Put her on purpose. You watch a college football game, you watch an NFL game, they show like hundreds of fans throughout the game.
Yeah.
They big plays, they pan to the crowd, see the reaction, and she had a big reaction going on.
She is a fan. Yeah.
Yeah, and she was in the, and whether the guy recognized her or not and put her on camera, again, I feel like people pointing it out made it a bigger deal. So
Yes.
for her to be like, I wish they weren't on, well, it's too bad. People do know who you are, and maybe they recognize you and put you on. Maybe they didn't. We don't know.
No.
It just sucks that it just seems like it's such a weird thing. Like, who cares? Yes, she's an adult actress. She's a porn star, whatever you want to call her, and she got shown on ESPN for like 3 seconds. If she's upset about it, well, again, like, you kind of live in a limelight. People know who you are.
This is it.
Maybe you're going to draw a crowd or a camera here or there. I'm sure a lot of fans in the crowd probably made it a little bit more worse than a couple people online. But then again, people online are pretty
this is it,
terrible
right?
people.
Like,
so it is what it is.
Yeah, I think her social media accounts probably blew up with both, holy shit, it's a Bella Danger, and people tagging her and whatever else, and other people being like, what a terrible human being. Like, people who hate that form of entertainment or whatever. She's not the one who gets to make the choice on who appears on ESPN. Like you said, whether it was intentional or not, ESPN is flashing around and just showing reactions to what just happened in the game. Somebody knew who she was and put her up there, and another producer was like, oh my God, no, and took it down quick. Like you said, it was only 3 seconds. Or it was just totally random. They didn't know who she was, but she had a big reaction for Miami, and they threw her up there with the rest of the fans. It bugs me that she's the one now taking the brunt of this and having to apologize to anyone who was offended. Like, all you did was,
This feels so overreactionary.
This is it, man. Like, you weren't filming one of your scenes in the stands at the national championship game, and it made ESPN. There's nothing for her to apologize for, but that's the world we live in.
If I was to bet, the guy probably did know what he was doing, too.
I think so, too.
And that's a problem. And again, if she has that much of a problem with it, too, then, like, stay at home and watch the games, like, or else go stand on the sidelines, get a field pass, and get away from everybody.
I'm still not going to put this on her. I think someone at ESPN knew who she was, but I'm curious, man, as an old school Leaf guy like myself, who covers the Sens now quite a bit like myself, what you've thought of watching the last couple games with James Reimer between the pipes for the Ottawa Senators, who it used to be a bit of a running gag at how great he was at the Canadian Tire Center. Right. And now, look, I guess he hasn't played a home game yet for the Sens, but he will presumably get to do that. And it looks like we're not that far off from a return for Allmark. Marilainen has been sent down, so it looks like the plan when Allmark is ready for it to be an Allmark and Reimer tandem. But man, I got to tell you, it's been odd for 2 games here now watching him play for the Senators. And honestly, like, you wouldn't say he's been tremendous, but he's been fine, and he has stabilized things for them, which is what they've needed. What's it been like for you watching James Reimer in a Sens jersey, man?
It was pretty crazy to just see when they signed him. I was like, oh, this guy's still kicking. Like, good for him. And you know what? Like you said, like, I wouldn't say he's someone that came in and did much, but he's someone that's came in and, you got him a win. Like, Sens got him a win. I think the one good thing, too, is, though, he's like a veteran guy who's been around. He has that respect. I think that's, that's one thing to bring him back into that room where they've kind of struggled with goaltending. Again, Linus is away. They had Levy just playing so much, and whether he was ready to have that much action playing, 10, 11 games in a row is just something probably he wasn't expecting to do this year. I feel like the just goaltending situation was everywhere, and it's like, you know what? Well, how can you usually settle things down when things are getting out of hand? Well, let's go bring in a veteran goaltender, and that's what they did. And I think, James Reimer, seems to be a guy that is obviously respected by the team, because I thought they played okay the other night again, and for him to get a win, it goes to show, he still got a little bit left in the tank. So, good for Ottawa and bringing a guy like that in. I think he's someone that, like you said, has always had good numbers in Ottawa. So if he gets a couple home games, curious to see his reaction.
It's weird because like the Sens all year have looked like they don't need all-star goaltending. Like most of their underlying numbers suggest if we could just get okay goaltending, they'd be okay. And they hadn't been getting it. The numbers that they'd had, through Allmark early in the season and Merlanen afterwards, they, were struggling to just get league average goaltending. And I think somebody had put out the numbers, I can't remember who it was on Twitter, that was like, this was like 4th or 5th worst tandem goaltending numbers since like 92, 93, and 2 out of the first 5 were early years since when they were an expansion team. So I don't think they needed a savior. They didn't have to hit a home run to go and bring in some all-star. They just needed someone to stabilize things and steady things. And as you point out, Reimer appeared to be capable of that. Like last year, his numbers as a backup in the NHL were fine. I think they were like 902, 903, which was actually above league average. I don't think you want 37-year-old James Reimer starting games for you, like as a starter, but to just kind of steady the ship a little bit. I think he's a guy who has shown he was capable. It was a risk because he hadn't played in the Leafs signed him at the last minute in training camp. It didn't really pan out. They didn't do much with him. He went to the Spangler Cup and then had one start in Belleville where he didn't look very good. So it was a risk, but he has clearly steadied the ship a little bit. And like I said, they don't need a superstar. They've been good enough defensively, and their system has been fine. They just need kind of don't screw us goaltending. And so far, Reimer's been able to give them that, man. It's been strange to watch as a Leaf guy, but I'm not shocked that he's able to give them just settle down goaltending, right? Just we're okay back here, go do your thing up there kind of goaltending. And so far, that's what he's given them.
Yeah, I think it'll only be weird when he beats the Leafs, right? Like that's the game.
Well, let's hope he doesn't do that.
I think it's going to be sometime in March.
It's March, yeah.
Yeah, so I think they play, and that'll be the game where he probably gets the start and somehow gets like a 4-0 shutout against the Leafs. Yes. And that's how it's come full circle that he, for years, was the Sens kind of whisperer. Then he kind of signs with Ottawa, and you know what? You will give them one last laugh. That's how he does it. Handles the Leafs. Already, just don't even watch a game. Yeah, book it. Put it in there for now.
What do you make of the Leafs, man? Because it was a brutal start to the season, but somewhere in mid-December, they started to get going. Certainly coming out of Christmas, I think their record was like 9-1-3. Matthews, I believe, had 11 goals in 12 games, which perhaps no more than anything else was the turnaround point. Your number one center started to look elite again. They've stumbled a little bit here over this road trip. It was a tough road trip, but I think a lot of people would have taken a 2-1-1 result on that road trip. But when you beat Colorado first, you start to go, oh, okay, like that was a sort of penciled in loss. We beat them, got 2 points. Maybe now it could be a 2-0-2 road trip or a 3-1 road trip or something like. It didn't pan out, right? You got caved in the next night in Utah. Blew 4 2-goal leads to Vegas, and then played a good game in Winnipeg, but then rolled home and got beat up pretty good by Minnesota, and that happens. I know it's always the first game back from the Western road trip, like everybody knows about that. The Leafs didn't get the extra day off that teams normally do. That's not supposed to be an excuse. Most Eastern teams coming home aren't getting that this year because of the shrunk schedule for the Olympics. I'm just sort of curious, man. After a bad start and then a pretty good run and then a bit of a stumble now, are you expecting the Leafs to be more like the team that stunk at the beginning of the year, the more like the team that's been really good here in the last 15 games? I'm sort of curious what your take is as someone getting a look at them now.
Yeah, I think, one thing, Auston Matthews is clearly, I don't know what this team has done, but there's some time around Christmas, I think right before they actually played the Ottawa Senators, they were just in a funk. Like they were not doing good. And it's like something snapped. Whether it was Craig Berube changed things up, the team just got a different vibe. Like Auston Matthews has been
Mark
crazy.
Savard that bad of a coach that just
Right,
firing one assistant coach turns
your power play
everything
coach?
around?
Yeah, your power play coach gets axed, and all of a sudden it's like, all right, here we go. And it's weird, but it's true. It's like next thing you know, this team kind of feels like they are a legit team in the East again. I know they're kind of sitting outside of a playoff spot, but I still see them making the playoffs right now. You know, I see that there's rumors they're kicking tires, and you know, I think they do need to make a big move though. Like I do think that they have holes. What's the move?
Yeah.
Is it go bring in Robertson? I don't know. Like, is that, you know, something that they could use? Is it bringing back an old face like Nazem Kadri? You've heard kicked around a little bit as well. I don't know. I think that they're a team right now.
Do you have any interest in Dougie Hamilton?
Not
That's
really.
the one kicking around out there now as a righty defenseman with a lot of skill who had sort of been pushed out in Jersey with a $9 million cap.
Yeah, that's the problem though. It's like he's not really cheap. Like I think that they're a team that go make a bigger swing. Like again, go get a Robertson. Like that's something that if you're going to do something, like not that their back end hasn't, you know, has been good, because I think they're okay. I think they've gotten healthier. Obviously, that's one thing. Stretcher has been quite a surprise.
Yeah,
you know, I don't know about you. Did you see him being this?
No,
good?
nobody did.
Not that he's been amazing.
He actually has been far better than I expected.
He's been very good.
Yeah,
like I think.
But you're right. That is not a top pair defender.
No,
and they have struggled to absorb the blow of missing Tanev, right? Like they just they've got nobody who does what he does. And Carlo, to be fair, has been better coming back from injury than I expected, right? He's been better than he was in the first bit of the season when he was playing. So that's been good. But yeah, they are lacking on the back end there.
I think a Hamilton acquisition is just, where does he really slot? And look, Tanev won't be back, I guess, for the rest of the season, but
doesn't sound like it. Yeah.
No, when you look at where they have and where they're, if they want to go somewhere, how much is Doug Hamilton going to cost? And you notice that? Why is it always Dougie? It's always Dougie, right? It makes me laugh. It's, I don't know, Doug. What about Doug Gilmore or Doug Gilmore?
You're a grown-ass adult. Do we still have to call you?
It's kind of like Sid the Kid. It's like a nickname, but it's always Dougie Hamilton.
Welcome back to the podcast, Stevie Bunda.
Like, exactly.
It's Steve Bunda, man.
Exactly. Nobody ever calls him Doug. It's always Dougie Hamilton. It just makes me chuckle. So it's like, okay.
Well, his brother used to play, right? Nobody ever called him Fred Hamilton. It was Freddie Hamilton. Always. It was.
It's true.
Yeah.
That's funny. It just makes me laugh. And I'm like, okay, cool.
Hey, Dougie.
But yeah, how much is he going to cost though? Like that's the thing. I don't know what.
It depends how bad Jersey wants to get rid of him, right? Like
exactly.
The whole reason they didn't get Quinn Hughes was they had cap issues, and Luke Hughes has taken a lot of Dougie Hamilton's minutes. Lukey Hughes has taken a lot of Dougie Hamilton.
You might as well start doing that to everybody, right? Lukey.
Yeah. So if they're willing, like, it depends. Is it about getting something back for them, or is it about losing that cap to them? And Toronto actually has room. Toronto could absorb this without having to send out much. Like, could you get Jersey to take back Calle Yarncroke and, I don't know, not much, maybe even Nick Robertson. And then...
Well, no, you need to keep Nick Robertson because you want to go trade for Jason
Robertson.
You want the brothers together.
Sure. I don't know. I don't hate it. If you don't have to give up much and you just have to eat the cap hit. Because for once, Toronto is actually able to eat the cap hit. And I think he is something they could use. They need another puck-moving defender, right? They have a lot of, Craig Berube-style defenders that are just big tree-style guys. Yeah, come on in on us and take your shots at us. But they're big and they'll move guys. It's Benoit and it is Carlo and it's McCabe and, to a certain extent, Myers and Tanev. And if you could have another guy that's just money, if it doesn't cost you more than like a third-round pick and you have to eat the cap hit, I think I would do it. Because I do think he can help their power play as an offensive guy, as a puck move. And maybe he can get the puck more often to a Matthews in flight or to a Nylander in flight. I think they're missing that a bit, but I'm not sure that he's a Craig Berube guy, right? And we saw what happened when you're not a fit with the coach. And they went out And they got Jake Muzzin, who's a really good defenseman. And Mike Babcock was like, nah, not what I needed. Bang, and buried him on like the third pair for a while or whatever. You're just like, if the coach isn't going to use you right, it's not worth spending what it's going to take. But I'm intrigued by it. I assume other teams will be able to offer Jersey more, but I'm intrigued by the idea, if nothing else.
Yeah, it's something where if they end up having to pay too much, I'm going to be very disappointed in it. I know, like you said, I'd rather go at somebody that I feel like can fit in the bottom pairing. But again, I think they're missing that extra scoring guy.
Yeah.
I feel like that would be the thing that they need. And that's where you can bring in a Robertson and pay a little bit more for, make that deal that will replace the Mitch Marner kind of points and that help your power play. There's so much I can go into it that I feel like would be so awesome.
That's going to cost you so much more. I think Jason Robertson, everyone will be lining up to get. I'm not sure how many teams are lining up to get Dougie Hamilton at $9 million. Maybe you can buy low there. I don't know, man.
And if they can retain, give up a mid-round pick and, like you said, Yarncroc and throw in a prospect that, was whatever. Oh, hey, that'd be amazing, right? Just take some money back though and eat some of that. Okay, but no, I don't know. I think that let's add a big forward. I think that's the thing I want to see the Leafs do is add a big forward, someone that can score and make a bit of a splash.
Well, Bunda, on Friday night we're going to see a splash as a forward that the Leafs had, who did score and put up points, returns to Toronto. I'll be honest, I'm irritated. Maybe I shouldn't be, but I'm irritated by the idea that. When the Leafs played him down in Vegas, Vegas had played the night before in LA. So Toronto media didn't get to take a crack at him because he was flying in at the last minute, no morning skate. And it's the same this week. He won't have to answer much because for whatever reason, Toronto is playing a home Friday night game, which is super weird. But Vegas is in Boston the night before. So again, he won't have to face the media. I'm curious what you think the reception will be in Toronto. I assume no matter what's happening with the crowd booing or cheering, there will be one of those welcome home videos.
100%.
They're going to do that. Do you expect the crowd to be hard on him, really hard on him, not at all, just sort of cheer through the video and otherwise sort of leave him alone? What do you think? Toronto is notoriously quiet in the building. What do you expect the reception to be for Mitch, who did put in 9 years of pretty productive play in Toronto?
Yeah, I like the way you asked it too, because you kind of gave me numerous
framing
options.
up both.
It was kind of like I'm filling out a questionnaire: satisfactory, non-satisfactory. It was like
one not at all satisfied, two a little satisfied.
Now look, I the way Mitch is going to get a response is, I think, just like anything. I think before the game he's going to get a couple of those people during warm-ups that are giving the quick boos and bugging him. They're going to honor him. I think right before I don't know if they're going to, but before the game he's going to get an ovation with the video on the screen. But every time he touches the puck, he's getting booed. You know what I mean? It's one of those mixed reactions. I feel like he's going to get the respect he deserves. He's going to get the video and a huge tribute. He deserves it all, man. This is one of the most scoring players in Leafs history. Yes. And all of a sudden, look, I was
a top 10 point producer in 100 years of Leaf history.
Yeah. I pounded the table on trading him years and years ago. Mm-hmm. And what bothered me the most is how he basically waited.
Got his dad all pissed off at our show at one point.
Yeah, listen, I'm sorry, Mr. Marner, but you know what I mean? Maybe that's why he wanted to wait forever to not get anything in return. But again, they waited till there was literally nothing on the table except for Nicholas Roy, which, you know what, I think he's actually been better than I give him credit for the last couple games or so. But I wasn't a huge fan of whatever, but they ended up getting someone back for him. Either way, I think that, look, just because it didn't work out here doesn't mean he was a bad guy. He kind of disappeared and let them down. Something had to give, breaking up the big three, because it just didn't work. And he was the odd man out. He wanted the big money. He wanted to go to free agency and get that money. He went to Vegas. He's hanging out with Mark Stone now. Like I said, I think Leaf fans are going to give him the respect when he gets his tribute, but I guarantee he gets boos from people in warm up and whenever he touches the puck during the game, especially when he scores the game-winning goal or has the sickest assist for Vegas to win it. There's going to be something, because we all know it's as Leaf fans, you got to see it coming. Like he's definitely doing it. What is he? He's not putting in a hat trick. That's just not a style. He's definitely going to go like game-winning goal and 3 assists. Like that's what's going on.
Yeah, he had 2 or 3 points in the game down in Vegas.
In Vegas, yeah.
I got to be honest with you, man. I look at it and
fans should be booing him. They should have had Ranson in there.
Yeah.
Mitch stopped that all from going on.
I get that, and I do. And yet, at the same time, you gave him a no-move clause. His wife's 7 months pregnant. If I'm him, I'm telling you to shove it too. I'm not moving at that point. So I agree. For me, a certain amount of the booing is actually...
He's going to get booed.
Well, but to be pointed at Treliving or even at Dubas or whatever you want. But I do think as the first guy out the door from this particular Leafs era, he's wearing all of that frustration from Leafs Nation. For all these losses, it's safe to boo you now because you're not still here. Matthews is here, Riley is here, Nylander is here, and we've seen the Leafs get booed at home, rightfully so for the most part, during Game 5 and Game 7 especially. But you're now not part of the group. And so, fuck you, right? Like, the reins are off, and I do think, even if it's just isolated to him, he is one of the chief disappearing act guys when the playoffs would start up, and it was uncool to boo him the next year or whatever because he's a local guy and he grew up wanting to be a Leaf and he's still one of us, and you're like, I guess I can't boo Mitch. All of those reins are off now, and I expect he will fully be booed. I'm with you, man. I think back to the Sundin return where Mats was booed the first couple times he touched the puck, and then they went to a commercial break and they ran the video package, and there was a tremendous standing ovation to the point where that delay, the next face-off was actually Mats, who had to step back in because it was the linesman who backed out along with Matt Stajan for the Leafs and said, we're going to let this standing ovation continue. And it's Mats who had to step back in and go, drop the fucking puck. Like, this is killing me, right? We got to play. And they went right back to booing him when he touched the puck. And I do think Mats was a more beloved Leaf than Mitch. And it didn't have to be that way, but Mitch was kind of standoffish, and Mitch took random shots at the fans and the media at different times over the years. And again, I think I might have said this on the Monday show, that Mats, in that game, it went to a shootout. Mats has the game on his stick coming in. Everyone's booing him all the way in, and he scores, and they erupt and cheer for him. Yeah, I don't think Mitch is getting that. I do think Mitch will get cheered politely, at least for the video, but the rest of it, I think he's going to wear a lot of shit. On a Friday night too, a lot of the Bay Street types stay downtown and get drunk in between office hours and the game starting. Yeah, no, I don't at all. Power to you, man. Have a good time. But it's weird. There aren't many Friday night games in Toronto. Yeah. So, I'll be curious to see how this all shakes loose. But I fully expect he's going to wear it hard on Friday night. Some of it will be unfair. Some of it will be totally deserved. But I think the reins are off. Like I said, you used to be one of us, so we didn't boo you. You grew up here as a fan of here. We wanted to cheer for you. All of that's gone. Even the point that you make, turning down the return, right? What you could have got us, the Rantanen thing, whether it's reasonable or unreasonable, fans are going to remember that too. Like if Rantanen ends up in Toronto last year, who knows how the Florida series goes, because they did have a chance to win that. But even if that doesn't happen, you have that extra time to talk to Rantanen, and maybe he's now here locked up long term. Man, there's a lot of moving pieces here, and I think Mitch is going to have to wear a lot of it Friday. Some of it, like I said, will be unfair. A lot of it won't be unfair.
Yeah. No, and I think the one thing we've seen throughout sports, like you said, bringing up the Matt Sundin thing is a very good example, because I think as fans, you'll always respect his career and as a Leaf, but when you're on the ice playing against that other team, then you're an enemy, right? It's the same thing. Mitch knows 90% of that locker room. They're all buddies. Probably 50% of them he's really good friends with.
Yeah.
And, that core four, he obviously knows it and feels it too. Like he was the problem and was shipped away. Now it's his idea is I'm going to prove them wrong, right? Just like, the Leafs want to say, yeah, he was the problem, so let's boo him. There's all that goes on. But when you're on the ice, that's what matters, right? He knows they're all buddies. They're all probably going for dinner or some kind of lunch or something after. They're going to try and meet up and they're all going to chat. There's still a lot of friendship between Mitch and the Leafs, but when they're on the ice, they're going to hate each other and they're both going to want to win. So it's the same thing for fans, I think. But I think we usually, put ourselves on the team a little bit more, and we get like that because we want to cheer against someone too. And Mitch is the perfect villain right now. He's a guy, like you said, that had that attitude that kind of
went to the
wrong
villain
way.
Team, right? Like he didn't end up in some random, in Edmonton or Carolina. Yeah, there you go. Right. But Vegas. Everybody already hates Vegas, right? They get everybody. Well, you're in the minority there, I think. But
I love those gold helmets, man. Those gold jerseys and gold helmets. I love that outfit.
So before we talk some fights, I want to talk to you about Drake May, the New England Patriots. We are down to the Final Four, and all year, man, everyone has had a take on the Pats. And it's been because they have had a historically easy schedule.
Cakewalk.
And look, people already wanted to hate the Patriots because they have for a long time. And it was like, you have not served your time yet, right? Like as Brady left and you're supposed to be shit for a decade before you get to be any good again, they have walked back in and immediately become a contender again. And you look at what they faced during the regular season. You look at what they have faced thus far in the playoffs, the different guys who were injured there. Now they're getting ready this weekend to face the Denver Broncos we think without Bo Nix. I'm reading some crazy shit about some wild painkiller they're going to try and put him on to play.
Yeah, right.
But I know. Yeah. But it looks like the golden path for the New England Patriots, and yet he's got 5 fumbles, Drake May, and 2 interceptions just in these playoff games he's played thus far. For you, how real are the Patriots versus is it just this, holy fuck, no one has ever paved a path in gold more than what's happened for the Patriots this year?
Yeah, you see, it's a bit of both. That's what's funny, and I think it's just funny because everyone's being extra hard on the Patriots because we don't need to see the Patriots again.
Yeah, because fuck the Patriots.
It's been like 5 years since they were good. Like it's hilarious.
But before that, they were good for like 22 years.
And that's why everyone's so mad. And it's funny to see the bounce back so quickly. But one thing they did this year, they took advantage of it, right? They played the schedule that was given to them. It's not their fault so many teams
That's
are bad.
right. Beat who's in front of you.
Yeah, exactly. But I just think that it is funny to see, how real he is. It's tough to obviously, gauge that exact amount of how good he is. I think that he could probably use some help at wide receiver, like Kyle Williams being one of your main receivers. It's like, okay, Keyshawn Boutte, like that guy, he's good. But again, like these aren't guys that, like Mac Hollins who, might not play a little bit.
Sure.
Like there's, they don't have the sexiest offense, but their defense is for real. I think they have some serious guys. They went out in free agency and they added the right guys. Milton Williams, winning a Super Bowl with the Eagles. Harold Landry, great pass rusher. Went out. Carlton Davis, former Buccaneer, won a Super Bowl with the Bucs. Former Gravedigger, a little bit of time for Carlton Davis, but they went out and they added the right guys. They have a really, really underrated, we've been talking all playoffs about, okay, Broncos D, one of the best in the league. We've been talking all, okay, here come the Texans. They're going to shut them down, one of the best Ds in the league. And like you said, the Patriots didn't play very good against them, but nobody talks about the Patriots having a real good defense that can show up and make big plays. I think that's a big thing that's helped out Drake May and that offense because, again, that offense isn't sexy, but it gets the job done. And if, Drake May had a few more receivers or even just one big receiver, I think that Patriots team would be talked about completely differently. But I do think we talk about them differently, mainly because we're sick and tired of the Patriots. Yes. They just went away for like 3 years, and it's like, why are you back? Go away.
Well, this is it. It's not just, hey, you're back. It's just like, oh, hey, look, somebody is paving out the path for you. And you're like, fuck that. Like, You're right. The frustration is as much a part of this as, the legitimate grievance of, Bo Nix. I don't know at what class of quarterback you have him in right now, but any team that loses their starter at this point in the playoffs, that's brutal. And to see that handed to the Patriots is, I think a tough pill for a lot of people. Yeah. What do you make on the other side of the bracket right now, man? We're down to the final four.
Yeah, I think the Rams are exactly who we thought they were. Like, I think they are the favorite. Unfortunate, I thought the Bears were there. What a game the other night.
That was
the Bears
incredible, man.
Yeah, I've been
4th and 4, especially there late. That was
man.
Unreal.
It's so good. And I think Caleb Williams and Ben Johnson, that duo, seems like a real up-and-coming duo in the NFL. Ben Johnson is instantly became one of my favorite coaches in the NFL. I love his hate for the Packers. I thought they played very good at home the other day. Kind of just had some bad plays, here and there. You go back to the game before. They just were a team that just had that gutsy feel to them that figures out ways to win. But the Rams are a good team. I think they're favorite. I like the Seahawks defense, but I'm not a big fan of Sam Darnold. I think that he's had a very easy path to where he is as well right now. Come on. Again, the 49ers were just, nothing. And
that is the only game, man. Bunda, every year I come into this, or at least for the last several years. Yeah. And the playoffs hook me. I'm a casual NFL fan. And yet, as soon as the playoffs start, it's wild. Every game is down to the last minute, crazy last second score. And this is the only game, that Niners-Seahawks game, where you're just holy shit, this is a beatdown from minute one. And it's the one outlier. And so you're just sort of wow, okay, I guess the Niners didn't belong here. But I'm with you. I don't believe in Sam Darnold. That's just, I don't think that's going to pan out at all.
I do think the Rams are going to win the Super Bowl if I was to put no matter what happens in the AFC. I just think they have both just such a good offense and defense. But McVay is really kind of separating himself. The craziest thing about the NFL playoffs this year is that the coaching outside of the playoffs seems to be bigger than the playoffs this year. And it's something true. Where I feel like we've talked more leading up to the playoffs about how it's going to be weird with no Lamar Jackson, no Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs this year, no Joe Burrow, none of these big faces of the NFL where Josh Allen was. And look, the Bills once again, kind of choked away a game and choked away playing off into, they should be in this AFC championship game kind of thing. It's crazy how things just kind of work out. It really is. And, for Bills fans, they lost their coach, their owners out there talking shit and kind of being an idiot. There's a lot that's going on. I feel for Bills Mafia, but what the is going on there? Yeah. It just feels weird. But that's the thing right now. Everyone's worried about Mike Tomlin, and what's he going to do? Is he actually done coaching now? Harbaugh's fired. So there's openings now in some of these markets where you haven't seen coaches, get fired in 19 years, 19, 18 years in Pittsburgh and Baltimore, which has been pretty crazy.
Stable, yeah.
Yeah, and then there's teams here, the Tennessee Titans are anybody want to come coach us? And everyone's shut the hell up, get out of here. No one's got time for you. It's crazy to see that right now, leading into the playoffs, everyone thought, what's it going to be like without some of these bigger name quarterbacks in the NFL playoffs? Well, the kind of product is shown. Sure, Drake May is kind of taking that step to be a guy that is probably going to be a top quarterback in the NFL, despite his easy schedule and whatnot. I think, again, the defense is good, but when you look across, Bo Nix, I think he's starting to put himself in
he looks
not
good
in the top 10, but he's probably in that 10 to 15.
He's in that just in the absence of your Lamars and of your top guys, you started to see some other guys take that step. And you're right, not to the same level, but Bo Nix had established himself. I think Drake May, look, as sick as I am of the Patriots, you take what's given to you, and he's done that. So I don't know if he's going to end up being an upper echelon quarterback or not, but he's beaten the teams that have been put in front of him. And the 5 fumbles and the 2 interceptions, man, it's a bad look thus far in the playoff. But he's got wins, and so what do you want from the guy at this point? Sam Darnold, look, I just think he's what he is at this point. I'm not buying into him at all at this point, but
And this is where they get those chances, though, to make those. Like, the thing I feel bad for Bo Nix is he's not playing in the AFC Championship game where he has that ability to go toe-to-toe against Drake
let's
May
see.
and
Who's
show
the next
I'm
guy?
better than you. I can throw 3 touchdowns.
That would have been
I
a
can lead
classic matchup, man.
Yeah, and then I win a Super Bowl. Like, that's, what Bo Nix could have had in front of him, which puts himself from the, 10 to 15 range to the, top 10, maybe 8 to 10 range.
Yeah.
Like, there's that option where he has that ability. Sam Darnold, the reason why we're not talking highly about him is because he's going up against Matt Stafford, who has won a Super Bowl in the last couple of years with the Rams and has a more offensive.
And Matt Stafford, just
Darnold
a classic game manager, right? Like, he's not going to do anything. He's got a
big arm too. Like, he's one of the top.
I guess, Bunda, but to me, he doesn't wow me. He's just like, do what I need to do to march along and chip away. And
well, and he's got a big arm. And
this would have been a great chance to make a new star. And I'm not sure Matt Stafford at this point in his career is going to be that star, right?
No,
maybe Drake May could be.
Yeah. He's the one guy hanging on. That's like your last, like, classic pocket passer guy that has the big arm, and he can, he has some big weapons to get the ball to, and it's cool to see him be able to gut it out right now. And again, the NFC has just kind of been a little bit all over the map, but without having the Niners missing a lot of their best players, and guys that you're struggling to get the ball. It's like, okay, there's so much happening, but I feel like this right now is the kind of, when you don't have those big names in the playoffs where you're talking about, look what happens. Like, Josh Allen, his coach lost his job now.
Great.
Yeah, exactly. CJ Stroud, like, again, that team, like, he was a guy that a couple of years ago showed that, like, hey man, his rookie year, this guy looks like he could be a top 5 QB one day. And he's just kind of went off and slower and not as good. And now it's like, okay, like, he himself, how many interceptions he threw the other night? 5? Like, it wasn't very good either. Like, but that defense is so good. It's like, man, you had no receivers, but again, you just couldn't not throw one pick. You couldn't just, it's crazy. You look at a guy like Justin Herbert and the Chargers, who have been around for a while, and we're talking about this next wave of quarterbacks that need to be able to kind of take that next step, and they just don't sometimes. And that's where Darnold is. You know what? You've had so many chances, but you've never really been able to put a team on your back, and you don't have to with that Niners defense, but you have to be able to go out there and make the throws to win games. Can you do that against the Rams here in the NFC Championship game? I don't think he does, but if he does, it changes this whole narrative of, wow, maybe he can actually be a starting quarterback. We're not going to draft. But again, there's so much that goes into it. Hey, I don't see them winning, but those, like I said, these games are where quarterbacks can make their name, and it's very unfortunate for Bo Nix because he has 2 games in front of him where if you win them both, we're talking about him completely differently. Instead, we're talking about Jarrett Stidham, and it's like, okay, you know what? The tie there to being a draft pick of the Patriots is whatever. He was a wide receiver at one point back in West Virginia. Like, he's kind of molded and went around.
Hey, here in Ottawa, we love wide receivers turned quarterbacks, man. Brad Sinopoli, shout out, buddy.
That's right. But no, it's
I guess
cool.
it's the other way around, right? That was a quarterback turned wide receiver.
Winning.
But
I see a Patriots-Rams Super Bowl kind of repeat. I think it was 2018, 2017. I can't remember what year that was. It was right in there. But I think the Rams win it.
Yeah, I'll hang on tough. You know me, man. I'm a casual at best, but I like my Broncos just sort of got that Peyton Manning hangover. So I'll stick with it.
I'd be so down.
So
not that I'm cheering against the Patriots, but I am.
I'll hang tough and hope for the miracle here on Sunday. Look, we got to talk some fights, man, because this Saturday was supposed to be the dawning of a new era for the UFC.
Oh, yeah.
On Paramount Plus. Here in Canada, it remains on Sportsnet for a bit where you have to pay the pay-per-view price. I think that's on its dying legs. At some point when that Sportsnet deal runs out, you will see them also join the Paramount League. They're trying to grab it worldwide, much like Netflix did on the WWE deal. So we'll see. But this was supposed to be a big deal, a big launch. And the first blow to that came when we saw Kayla Harrison. And I think the last time you were on, you and I talked about whether or not Kayla Harrison and Amanda Nunes should have been the main event, because that's a real title fight versus an interim title fight. But now Kayla Harrison has suffered a neck injury. She's going to have neck surgery. At this point, probably already has had the surgery. They're talking about doing that fight down the road. I don't know how long Amanda Nunes is planning on being back, whether that fight will still happen. So all of a sudden, you've got Amanda Nunes off the card, and that is one of the UFC's biggest fighters. But I don't know. Now, I guess you wait and you have Nunes versus Harrison later. I'm still interested in that fight, but this was supposed to be the launch point for the UFC on Paramount. How bad does it hurt the card? Does it for you at all? Like, is there enough? Because they had loaded this up pretty well. Is there still enough on the card to get you excited and feel like a legit takeoff place for this new era, if that's what we're calling it?
Yeah, and this is a fight where I'm kind of okay with it being pushed off for right now. I look at it as this is a spot where I don't want to love these two fighting each other. I don't want, here comes Amanda Nunes. She comes out of retirement just to beat Kayla Harrison, just to say, I'm still the queen, I'm still the bad bitch. And then she just disappears. And then Kayla Harrison just becomes like, okay, like you lost to someone that came off the couch, which,
well, like, as you suggested, right? It is sort of the GSP Bisping. GSP fights for the first time ever in his career at middleweight, beats your champ, and then goes back into retirement. Like, well, so you sort of screwed our division, and I guess you sold a pay-per-view or two, but it didn't really help it, right? Like, it's
a neck injury too with Kayla Harrison, and right now it doesn't look like they're rebooking it anytime soon. It's at least 6 months.
Yes.
For her this to go on. I don't see anything going on with Amanda Nunes right now. I don't see her trying to come back to fight some random person. When I look at the card, thankfully it is a pretty stacked card. But again, that's why I think you put a couple of these big name cards together, because you can afford to lose a fight like that, even though it was probably going to be like fight of the night, right?
Yeah.
Like that was like there's a lot of these fights on this card.
That was the one for me that had my attention the most, man.
I mean, and Justin versus Patty is going to be
it's going to be good for sure.
Yeah. But that was the fight that you're like, oh shit, like this is a legendary fight. Like, again, I was kind of hoping to see Amanda Nunes kick around for a couple of years and these two can, build a rivalry. Maybe they still can. I guess we'll see, 6-7 months down the road from now where Kayla Harrison is, and if she's able to, get back and she wants to be herself and she wants to take on Nunes. It's a very interesting spot to be. Again, I hate these kinds of fights because it could just throw up your whole division. And right now it just seems like, okay, now we might not even see this division fight too much when you're going to miss one of the main fighters.
And to sort of lay it out for people who aren't huge fight fans, like Amanda Nunes is a legend, but she's been retired for a while. And so if she comes back and beats your current champ, you're like, well, now what do we do? Right? Like, it's sort of, and especially if she then turns around and goes back into retirement.
That's my big thing.
Yeah. Now we have our top person or our top fighter in this division just got beat. We don't currently have a champ. How do we sort of set this up? So it can be damaging, and yet it's interesting because in the old UFC math, you'd go, I'll overlook that because we'll sell a pile of pay-per-views.
Yeah.
But there is no bonus now. Paramount has paid you what they're going to pay you for the year. And so there is no boost, right? No matter how many people watch this on Paramount Plus or ABC, or some of these are going to be on ABC. We'll see how this all shakes loose. But there's no extra money to be made like there was on pay-per-view. So that's going to make this kind of tough to quantify and tough to keep booking these super fights where there's no extra money to be made. We've talked about like the BMF belt before, right? Where you don't really fuck up a division. It's just two crazy assholes going at it in the center of the octagon. Yeah. Like, that's awesome. And it doesn't mess up a division. This will be a very new business model where UFC is getting paid all the money they're going to get paid no matter what. So how exciting is the matchup in terms of selling pay-per-views is off the table. But this is still a pretty stacked card, man. A couple of your boys are on there. What are you looking forward to on Saturday?
Yeah, and a lot of sneaky, good, young, up-and-coming guys. We'll get to the main thing, but I think the main event is going to be clearly the fight of the night. Justin Gaethje, whenever he gets in the octagon, you talk about this BMF belt.
Crazy motherfucker,
a bunch of crazy. Yeah, he's one of them. Like, he's one of the guys that he'll go into the middle of the ring. We saw it happen against Max Holloway, right? He got called out to the middle, and Max just caught him with one and put him to sleep.
This was it. Like, that fight was over. It was done. 4 rounds, dominant. And at the end of it, with 30 seconds left, he's just like, waves him out into the center. Let's just duke it out and go, man.
We're just bad mother. We're gonna do
that was
this.
so much fun, man.
Yeah, and now Gaethje, like, he's trying to make his last kind of title run, and this is what he's got. And Paddy the Baddy, he's a guy that, like last year, looking at his, he kind of had that downward kind of. What is he? He kind of got given a win when he shouldn't have been given a win.
Yeah.
It was, going back to a decision a couple of years ago. He's kind of rebuilt himself back up into that guy that people love to hate, and he's had some big wins. Michael Chandler, that was a big win, knocking him out in the third round, but he beat him up. Like, it was, it wasn't beating up Kevin Green or Tony Ferguson or he beat up Michael Chandler, which again, Michael Chandler never been very high on, so it is what it is. But that guy's bad. He can put you to sleep if he wants to. So when I look at this fight, I'm thinking, you know what, this is the perfect lightweight champion, like kind of, interim belt, just so we could till I guess things get figured out. But he lost to Max Holloway in whatever, but he was on, like, he beat Fiziev, he beat Poirier, he lost to Holloway, he beat Fiziev again. Like, Gaethje's here.
He's legit.
These two guys. Well, and knowing Gaethje, he knows, like, this is his chance. Like, I need to lay everything out on the line. And Paddy the Baddy, for him, it's like, I need to make sure, like, I don't have people doubt my name again. I want to make sure
they're
I
at
can
different
upset
stages
a
in their
legendary-
career, right?
Yeah.
Like, Gaethje's sort of trying to take a final run. Paddy's still kind of like, I'm on the come up, right? I don't want to get shut down here.
Well, he's on superstar status. Like, he's a guy that almost has superstar status by being, just a ranked fighter. If he can win this fight and get that belt around him, I know it's an interim, whatever. It still adds that extra hype about him that people will be talking about. And that's the thing. The UFC needs superstars right now. And we're going to see, I think the right kind of guys evolving this year. I guess a lot of it's going to come down to Ilya Topuria, obviously. But, you look at the whole UFC where it's at right now, they're starting to get guys like Khamzat Chimaev late in the year winning the belt. Or, that's something that I feel like is going to run into this year. They're slowly building superstars again, and Paddy the Baddy is on that verge. If he can win this fight, and in dramatic fashion too, that's going to add to his name, and it's going to hype up a title fight even more, which is going to be super exciting because it already sounds like Ilya and Paddy have been wanting to go at it for quite a while now. Before he kind of took a little bit of a sidestep, and this fight was kind of put together. You know what? That was the rumored fight. Like, these two hate each other. Does he deserve a title shot or not? They put him at an interim title fight. I love this fight. I think that it's perfect for both guys. I think either you get a big win and Paddy has to go kind of reset and go back four because Gaethje can kind of overpower him. Or you see Paddy just kind of, and there goes Justin Gaethje, leaves everything in the ring. O'Malley versus Song Yadong. I don't see Song Yadong as being much of a challenge for O'Malley.
I don't either.
This feels like a layup and kind of, hey, let's kind of get...
Sugar Sean O'Malley is another one of those guys similar to Paddy that they're trying to push up, right? Make a star out of. And he has that charisma.
Yeah, and he won a belt, right? Now it's like, can you get him back to that? Because he is another guy that's a superstar status guy where if you can get him back in a title shot and relevant again, your UFC is looking a lot better because of that, which I'm sure they want to do with this new deal. Paramount wants to be able to build and have more eyes on and get more bang for their buck in the deal than anything, right? So,
100%.
And I think the UFC is better that way if they can get O'Malley in there. Song Yadong, you know what? He's no slouch, but I don't see, it's just going to be big enough to get the crowd in there to see a guy like Sugar Sean. Also, to have him on the card with Paddy is just insane because the crowd is going to be just going wild. So it's going to be pretty funny to watch that in Las Vegas. It'll be fun. A couple other fights that I think are okay, like Derek Lewis, the Black Beast, once again, fan favorite kind of guy.
Yeah.
Out there, Waldo Cortez Acosta, he's kind of shown that he's an up-and-coming heavyweight guy as well. He's been pretty good as of late. Lost against Sergey Pavlovich back when, he took a decision and it was kind of like, whatever. But after that, I think he's shown that he's a guy that can be a heavyweight, top champion contender right now as well. So that's not a bad fight either. Thug Rose, she's still a fun name to watch. She's not the same kind of fighter.
Apparently on the verge of a title fight if she wins. Came out this morning. We saw here. So
that's big for her. Galik Arnold Allen, same thing. A featherweight kind of guy that just, trying to keep pushing his name up a bit more. I like the prelims too. The last prelim, Umar Nurmagomedov versus Divas and Figueiredo. Two guys that are
that's
very
a main
exciting.
card quality fight. Like
absolutely.
And we'll see. Like, what does that even mean now? What you and I just said, it's all on Paramount. Like, so how do these cards shake?
Everything's starting an hour earlier, so Steve Bunda's very much approving. 9 o'clock pay-per-views, not 10 o'clock. That's what I'm talking about.
I don't know when you sleep, because the number of times, and I know you get up at ridiculous hours in the morning, you'll text me at, I don't know, 1 o'clock in the morning, hey, do you see that? And I'm like, no, I've been asleep for 2.5 hours. And I wake up and I text you back about it, and you're like, up again. Like, you're awake already. I'm like, I don't know when this motherfucker sleeps. But yeah, the fact that all these shows are going to start at 9 o'clock now instead of 10 o'clock, whew, buddy, all in.
Big win for everyone.
All in. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, big
like
win
that. for
everybody with the West Coast, but who cares about them? So
Yeah, no, but I think that's a great, like you said, that's a main card fight.
Yeah.
Two big names in the bantamweight division. Davison Figueiredo is trying to keep himself as a relevant guy, and Umar wants to get back into the championship as well.
But both those guys have been on that level and need this, right? They need a win.
Yeah, and I think that it's that exactly. Like you said, both of those guys need a win, and I think it'll be a lot of fun to watch that.
I want to get your take on a couple of things that seem to be shaking loose here for the White House card. But first, sticking on this weekend, I'm a bit of a nerd for just the sports media side of it. And I'm curious, do you expect to see anything noticeably different on the broadcast, shifting away from ESPN, ESPN Plus? And most of these broadcast, look, the broadcast is all handled in-house by UFC, and it's sort of a who gets to broadcast it. But we did see minor changes when they moved from Fox over to ESPN. I'm curious if there's anything that you're curious about or that you expect, having seen them move now off of the ESPN platform onto the Paramount or CBS platform here. Or will the show for you still kind of look like it's always? I think we know the play-by-play team is still going to be the same. But just in terms of the broadcast, I'll be curious to see what that looks like. Is there anything for you that you expect to be different?
Yeah, honestly, I'm like you. I don't know what to expect if they are going to try and change things up. I'm sure they will be. Like there's going to be some probably minor changes that Is it going to be completely different? I'm not sure. I always love DC, Joe Rogan. I think that these guys are so good. I think John Anik has been such a good pro.
Yeah.
I love that broadcast trio. I think they're probably in sports my favorite broadcast trio out of any football, everything. I think they are just so good together. The three of them, they just work so well. They just have that groove. And when they call fights, they are just exciting to listen to. And when you're watching these two guys beat the crap out of each other in the octagon, they all add something different. And I think that I
have to say this all the time on the show, Bunda. Like, whatever you think of Joe Rogan and his views on other things in his pot, he is so good at his job in the UFC, right? Just explaining what's happening in these fights. He is incredible.
So good. And I think he just fits well with Daniel Cormier. And, people will say, well, Joe Rogan was never a fighter. Why? Look, this guy knows he's been kind of doing background stuff for years. People say he's got one of the hardest kicks they've ever felt, kind of thing, as jokes, and they have fun. But Joe Rogan is well respected, and I think in the UFC world. And I think that, like I said, between him, Daniel Cormier, and John Anik, these guys just work together so well.
Yeah.
They just, again, watching, if you're a UFC fight fan, that crew is good. And when you don't have Joe there and it's a Bisping or, Laura.
It's just
Laura,
a different feel.
It is a different feel, and nothing against them.
No.
But that, they are a top level.
When you're getting the
all
A team.
sports.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm curious to see what changes they do make, because I'm sure there's going to be a couple. Is it just going to be what you see on your screen? Are they going to move things around? Different kind of timing clock and whatnot, different angles. The one thing that we've always seen from the UFC that I love is they were one of the first to pull up the 8K, right? When you get into the rate, the following the fighters in the octagon.
Yeah.
It was it's cool to see that they usually do try some new things with their broadcasts. So curious to see if it's so much different, if it's really weird. I'm sure we'll either comment or complain about it the next time we're on a pod. But I am looking forward to see if they do change it up a bit.
Yeah, that's going to be one of the things for me. I'm intrigued to see what the, if any, differences in the broadcast look like. Last thing before we wrap it up, though, man, we are rapidly approaching the White House card, and one of the pieces of news that broke within the last week or 10 days was that Alex Pereira had announced to the UFC, I'm moving up to heavyweight. And we've sort of seen him all over the place, and he's been a workhorse for the organization. He has answered the call when other guys have been hurt and they've needed somebody on International Fight Week or whatever was going on. But he broke in at middleweight with a crazy good rivalry with Izzy Adesanya. He moves up to light heavyweight. Now he wants to go to heavyweight. And a lot of the speculation seems to be that it's so that they can do, at the White House, Alex Pereira versus John Jones. At the same time, we've seen Dana suggest quite correctly, in my mind, I don't know if I can count on Jon Jones. Is that what you're hearing as well, that that's the fight they'd like to make? If so, is it one you're interested in seeing? Where do you stand on the idea of Pareto moving up to heavyweight to make something happen at the White House?
I don't like it. I don't like it at all. I like Alex Pereira, and I think he's been a workhorse for the UFC. But this is a guy that, has shown he can be knocked out in middleweight, and now you're kind of moving. I know he's maybe a bigger guy, and look, he's a scary and bad dude, but
he was big for middleweight.
Yeah, I just don't. Yeah, but then you move up to light heavyweight, and sure, him and Izzy Adesanya had some crazy battles where he did get knocked out. But he's also shown that he's been a bit older. He's had some lackluster performances. Sure, he had maybe a bit of an injury, and he still fought through it, and it didn't look good. And then he came back, and he had a huge win. But I just think he's in this part of his career now where it's like, I don't like it. I don't see it.
Don't you think that's what he's thinking too? I'm in that part of my career. I'm going to make some money. Like if I can get on that card, I'm going to get paid.
But I see him as his days were numbered in the light heavyweight division. I think Carlos Ulberg is coming for the title shot, and they're scared of him. I don't want to say that to him personally, but I look at the light heavyweight division, and I'm thinking these are some serious contenders coming up in the light heavyweight division, which we haven't really seen enough of. So when I look at this, I'm thinking it's kind of not the time to do it. But at the same time, maybe it is the right time. I don't know. Like, I like the way that things are kind of going up right now with the light heavyweight division. So I don't know. I was kind of surprised. I didn't love it. And I don't really like it. I think that it's
Do you think they can count on Jon Jones?
I don't.
No.
But I also think that that's just Jon Jones. Like, the guy's always, getting himself in trouble outside the octagon. Does he
I wonder,
like,
is there so much money to be made on being on that card? And again, we just talked about it. Now that they've moved to Paramount, I don't know how the payouts are going to work, right? Like, for people who aren't familiar, if you were a main eventer or a co-main eventer on a UFC card on pay-per-view, your pay was almost directly related to how many fights or like how many buys that show did. Now that it's just baked into the equation and Paramount is paying you this much for we don't know yet how that's all going to shake loose. Believe it or not, this was the same equation that wrestlers were worried about when WWE moved from pay-per-view to, they were paid the same way, for better or worse, based on pay-per-view buys, and then you move to a WWE network. You're like, well, how do you determine who's worth what and how I'm getting paid here? I don't blame Alex Pereira if he is feeling like I'm getting up there in age. Some injuries are starting to stack up. I'll take my chances as a heavyweight. Even if I lose, I'm going to get paid if I, fight Jon Jones on the White House card. But I don't know if it shakes loose that way, man. I don't know if there's any increase in pay.
Give me a different fight for that one for me to make it worth it. Francis Ngannou. Like, I'd love that a lot more.
But you've been calling out for that for a while, and so far there's no evidence it's coming, man.
Other than the fact that Francis Ngannou's contract is up at the PFL before the White House card. So,
and I like Francis. I would rather see Francis versus either one of those dudes. Like, give me Francis versus Pereira. I'd watch the fuck out of that, man. Like,
yeah, I mean, I don't even, again, I think that'd be exciting as well, just between those two dudes. But I think that's a fight that gets done, if it does, very last minute between Ngannou and Jon Jones. As for Pereira, I mean, yes, I just don't see him going there to fight Francis Ngannou unless he's going to get the belt. I also see that Jon Jones, is he actually going to want to fight? Does he really want to fight? Who does he want to fight?
I just don't trust him to show up, man, to get through camp and get
That's
through.
Why I feel like it's either going to be a last-minute fight that gets put together to add to the card. But again, I don't need that to be my main event. Like, I definitely don't need that to be a main event.
Do you expect Conor to be on this card? Because you're hearing more about that too, man. There's a lot of noise.
Yeah, I saw Dana White commenting. I think somebody put out there like Conor McGregor versus Jorge Masvidal. Dana White shot that down, saying that was just crazy talk.
Okay.
Again, I think involving Conor McGregor in fight talk is crazy talk now, because every time
very Jon Jones,
something else happens. Something else happens for Conor. I think they're two different but the same at the same time. Is nobody can really take them seriously because they kind of don't take fighting seriously.
This has gotten very much, and you and I have talked about this before, man. This has gotten very WrestleMania, right? The White House card is more about big names, big stars than it is about the right fights. And yet, in this moment, some of the biggest names in MMA, you can't trust. I don't trust Conor McGregor. I don't trust Jon Jones. I do trust Alex Pereira. I don't think it's the right move for him to be moving up to heavyweight, but I believe he'll be ready and he'll be there ready to fight. But some of these stars that you people are throwing Ronda Rousey out there. I don't believe that's where I want to hang my hat, but that's all of this has become very WrestleMania, right? Like, just get the biggest names you can and forget whether or not the fight will be any good.
Yeah, and I hope it's not, because the one thing UFC has always done is kind of distance themselves from wrestling, right? In the past, like, they always kind of made themselves known as, we're the UFC, we're bad, we're real. That's wrestling, right? It's not. It's just different. They've always tried to be that, and it's like when you get into this storylines,
now that they're under the same ownership.
Under the same ownership, but bringing in storylines and old guys that are veterans that haven't really fought in a couple of years.
The fuck just Brock Lesnar doing? Maybe he'll fight at the White House.
I may as well throw his name in there with Ronda and Conor and Jones. Like, I probably have more belief that Brock will get in the octagon. Sure. Honestly, I think I might trust him the most out of all those guys.
Who knows what he's going to test positive for afterwards, but he'll be there.
Yeah, he's a businessman. He knows. Hey, I got to show up.
That's right.
I'm not going to let the UFC down. I showed up on short notice with a drug exemption, and I still failed it after.
Yes.
Just like everybody knew I was going to do. That's why they gave me the drug exemption. So,
but look, I was there. I sold pay-per-views.
Yeah. So it is what it is. I think that I want to see more. I'm still skeptical-ish. I see that. I think I saw at work a couple weeks back that the White House was scheduled to have something around the time of a potential UFC card that they're throwing out there, and they've moved it because they're like, we don't want to interfere with it. Yep. So it does sound like it is going to go down.
It sounds like it's happening. Dana said within the next week or two after this weekend's card, they'll start to do the matchmaking for the for the White House card.
Which I think a lot of it will have to do with guys fighting this weekend, which would be, if you can get Paddy Pimblett versus Ilya Topuria for a belt, you can get Sugar Sean as well for
they need this weekend to go well, right? They need their guys to win here.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing that'll be exciting is this is where a lot of the bigger names are, the guys that are going to help sell stuff. I think when, like I said, if you can get, Paddy the Baddy versus, somebody big, and especially a guy like, Ilya at the White House, or, hey, maybe Gaethje wins it and he gets the White House card.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot that can go into it. But, when I look down, and even next week, I think there's back-to-back pay-per-view cards, technically pay-per-view cards, because next week is Volkanovski is fighting as well. Yep. But when I look at a guy, Peter Yan, right, and he's already kind of had him versus O'Malley, like, is that a potential fight that we're going to see? Like, there's a lot that can go into this weekend and next weekend to throw together for that and get a better idea of where your current fighters are, because the one thing we're talking about is people that aren't fighting, and none of them are going to be getting title shots and I think main card fights. But you know what? A White House card with like a prelims card with those guys on
that's the WrestleMania element, right?
Yeah.
This isn't part of our normal storyline leading towards a title fight to make it very wrestling.
So
it's
put
just
it on the prelims,
here's some names, here's some guys, remember Ronda, remember, it sort of feels like it's shaking loose that way, and whatever. I guess you can have a Pro Bowl type show at
pretty
the White
much
House, but that's what it's starting to look like, man. But we'll see. Look, at this point, I don't think there's any way around the fact that this will do big business. Like, there's no way around the fact that if you're a UFC fan, you're going to have to watch this card. There's going to be names. There's going to be real fights, but we'll see how many of them are more of kind of the freak show element of a fight. Bunda, man, I always appreciate you making some time, especially right now. I know you got a lot going on. You're taking care of a lot of business, so the fact you make a little time for us, I always appreciate, buddy. But anything else we need to get to on this edition of the show?
I appreciate it. Love always having fun, man. Love talking and being on the show. Shout out to the Kitchissippi Beer Company. Another good lager in the Sasquatch Schnitzel. Love it. It's a good, tasty lager. How did you like yours? Did you like your Sasquatch beer too, or what?
Yeah, man. Like, it's a bit the chalky walk. The name, I don't know. For me, the name's a little wonky, but yeah.
You mean chalky walkie is weird? Yeah,
it's a little cartoonish,
just like Dougie Hamilton all the time.
Dougie the Leafy, and we'll see how that all shakes loose. But yeah, the name, didn't love the name. The beer, I very much enjoyed the beer. So that's the important part. I'm sure you can shoot me a picture of your beer there, so people know what they're looking for in the LCBO, and we'll do the same here on our Instagram at Tall Can Audio. He is on social media at Steve Bunda 91. Appreciate it, buddy, as always.
Yeah, man. Thanks again. And, and next time, hopefully we're in studio together.
Fuck yeah, man. We are overdue for that. We got beers to trade off. We got in-person beers to have. I got 1 or 2 things here I've been waiting for you to try. So, the next time we'll do that in studio for sure. Stick around. Coming up next week on the podcast, you obviously got Rob on your Monday. That's always the case. You got Kevin Mickey from Sportsnet coming up. You got Julian McKenzie from The Athletic coming up. Good times as always on the Tall Can Audio podcast. For Steve Bunda, my name is Matt Robinson. Thank you so much for listening. We'll catch you all next time.
I thought it generally sucked. I didn't think it was a specific suck. I thought it was like an all-encompassing type of suck. So, we're going to try and rectify that. But for right now, I'm going to be pretty pissed about it.